Hello. My name is Ilose. I don't want this to be like a lecture. You can stop me anytime and ask questions. I want it to be more interactive. Flyer, my card, which we have there. And what are your names? So many people.
I'm Maria.
So I'm here to talk to you guys about the Minority Health and Health Disparities Research Program. This program is out of Berkeley. Do you have a clicker? I guess I have to be up here. Okay, it's okay. So this program is Minority Health Disparities International Research. The flagship of the program is the international part, where you get to go abroad in the summer of 2016. But it's a national program. It's run by the National Institutes of Health, and it's a federal government program. And it's not only at Berkeley; it's at other schools. But the Berkeley flavor is a little different from the other schools. The goal of the program is to increase the diversity of underrepresented minority groups in the biomedical sciences. So what we wish to do is to train minority students in under mentorship, because a lot of the time for kids to end up in PhD programs, they need to have been mentored as undergrads to give them that little boost when they apply for graduate school. And so that's what we try to do for our program, just to nurture young and upcoming biological students or students interested in the biomedical sciences or health sciences to be able to be competitive enough to enter grad school. The Berkeley focus of the training program is infectious diseases, and in particular infectious diseases that affect poor people here in the US and abroad. I don't know if you're aware, but here in the US, a lot of emerging and neglected diseases of developing countries are coming. The borderlands in Texas and in Florida have Chagas disease and trypanosomas disease and dengue and some mosquito-borne diseases. And these are predominantly among the poorest of the poor in this country, and these are the same diseases that you see in developing countries. So we want to make that connection that health disparities in this country reflect health disparities globally. So we train students around that. So what does the program involve? If you get in, you would have to take a course at Berkeley. This course is a preparatory course. You learn things about health disparities. If you're not a Berkeley student, that's not an issue. You won't get Berkeley credit, but you're welcome to come to the class and participate and get involved in all the curriculum activities that are involved in this particular seminar course. And then concurrently, as you take the course, you will also be mentored by a faculty member. And that's the mentorship that I spoke about earlier, where the whole goal is to make you a stronger candidate should you choose to go to grad school. And then you travel to your international site for 10 weeks, and you work there 40 hours a week for 10 weeks. It's a full-time job, expected to do that at your international site. You can travel in the neighboring countries or towns, but after your 40 weeks, 10 weeks is done, but you can leave your research early to go and travel. And then upon your return, there's activities that you are supposed to participate in around giving your research work at a student symposium that we hold every fall. In fact, those flyers are a little outdated. If you look at on them, it says 18th September info session at Berkeley. That's because we had the symposium that day, and I gave this talk to students as an info session. So you kind of become the ambassador for the MER program, and you try to recruit folks within your own circles, so to speak. This is the timeline. October 1st, applications open. It's you can upload your application materials to the website. I think it's on the flyer. November 1st, applications close, so all your materials, including recommendation letters and everything, need to be there. And by December 20th, you need to have announce who the award winners are because you're required to take that class so you can plan your spring semester better. Again, it's kind of repetitive. I already said these things. Spring, you take the course and you do your mentorship, and summer you travel, and fall you get involved in different activities. We also sponsor students to attend national conferences in their field of study. You don't have to present a poster or present an abstract if you can justify that. If you want to go to, say, a meeting in Washington, D.C. that is in your field of study, we'll sponsor you to go, and you can expand your networks and meet other people in your field. So the course involves several things, among them ethics around international research, issues of human subjects protection, and some of the topics that are in the program are quite sensitive, such as domestic violence and HIV/AIDS, working with people living with HIV/AIDS. So that brings up issues of ethical behavior in research. So we train you around that. The burden of neglected diseases, neglected disease research and development, and what the gaps are in financing. An overview of the UC Berkeley and UCSF research community. You get involved in many things, such as next year we plan to take kids who get in the program to San Francisco, to the Global Health University's Consortium of Global Health. And if there's registration fees, we will cover those, and we'll cover your transport, so you can get to be in that community of scholars like yourselves. And you will develop a research plan, you will develop research questions, you will write a proposal, you will go out and work on a research project, so you will be very good at research by the time you're done next fall. And we also teach multicultural, I would say humility instead of leadership. I think I should have corrected that. How to be humble in other settings, and how to listen to other people's ways of being and ways of doing things, instead of saying, oh, America knows best. We're from America, so we're going to show you how this is done. So we train students on how to recognize those power dynamics that happen when Americans encounter other cultures that are considered not as advanced, and also collaborative skills training. Berkeley, I speak for Berkeley, I'm alone, it's very competitive. Everybody's out to outdo the other person. But in this program, we encourage more collaborative than competition, so we're all in this together for a common goal. The projects, so these are currently, we have 19 people, 19 faculty mentors who've confirmed that they will participate. We have funding to support up to 12 students. And the sites are in Latin America. We have Eva Harris in Nicaragua. She focuses on dengue, and recently, because of the emerging diseases, chikungunya, which is another viral disease that is affecting the Caribbean and the Americas. It's very new to the Americas. It's just coming into this continent. And Lee Riley in Brazil. Lee focuses on tuberculosis, especially in the slum communities of Brazil. So you will work directly with some clinical samples at a hospital/research institute in Salvador, Brazil. In Africa, we have Malcolm Potts. In Niger, if you have French language skills, this would be a perfect site for you. Niger is a French-speaking African country, and the topic there is reproductive health and justice. So it's more family planning and food justice and things like that. We have Edward Miguel. He's on the news. You probably have heard him. He's an economist from Berkeley. He studies economic trends in Africa. His project is in Kenya with soil-transmitted helminths. And so if you get into this project, it's more econometrics and it's more economic based. It's not like biological science. So we have a good mix of disciplines. And then we have Jack Colford. He's in, that's Jason Corbin. Excuse me. He does slum health in Kenya also. And we have Sandra McCoy in Tanzania. She does antiretroviral therapy adherence among HIV positive individuals. And we have Phil Rosenthal, who is actually at UCSF. And he does malaria research in Uganda. So if you get into Phil's program, you'd have to commute to UCSF. So that's another added burden on the student should they get into field site. And then in Asia, we have Jack Crawford with water sanitation and diarrheal diseases in Bangladesh, and intimate partner violence with Professor Ringgold, who's actually the principal investigator of the MERT grant at Berkeley, but he works with Sunita, who's in India doing intimate partner violence, and we have a new site in India, also at the same institute as Sunita, with Maria Extrad, and that's an HIV stigma study. And Professor Zhao does HIV transcription in China. So that's very much lab-based. You're working on the virus in the lab in China. Very exciting work. I don't know if you guys have heard of CRISPR-Cas9 technology. They're using CRISPR-Cas9 now to do this work. It's where you do gene editing. And so they're going to edit the virus to figure out what they can find to get around the latency of HIV. So eligibility, number one, you have to be a U.S. citizen and permanent resident. We can make exceptions on other factors. You know, we can make like case-on-case decisions on other factors. For example, GPA, if you have 2.9 and they're just on the cusp, we can make an exception, but that one is absolutely, you have to be. 3.0 GPA, you have to be an undergrad in third year or above, or a master's student. You have to be from an underrepresented group in the biological, biomedical field, defined by the NIH as African American, Latino American, Native American, Alaska Native, Hawaiian Native, and Pacific Islander. If you're not any of those, but you're from a socially disadvantaged background, socioeconomic disadvantaged background, you qualify. But you have to show us that you received a good financial aid package, because that's how we determine that category. Or if you are not any of these ethnic minorities, you can be, if you can demonstrate that you come from a disadvantaged environment, although your parents may make a good living, if they are from, say, a rural area in the Central Valley and it's medically underserved, and kids in that community don't graduate high school, there's all these metrics, then you can get in. The fellowship supports airfare to your international sites and back, all visa fees associated with getting into that country, summer housing at your site. We give very generous summer housing. Until this year, we were giving summer housing stipend that was up to the Bay Area rental price, which is a lot of money in different foreign countries. So that means that you end up living in very nice upscale parts of the neighborhood or apartment or whatever, because we want to emphasize safety for our students, because we don't know what we're sending you. So we want you to be nice, safe housing. If you want to enroll at a local university, in case the program has your foreign sites at the university, not everybody is going to a university, we can give you some enrollment fees up to $500 to take a course, say, in the language, which is always a good thing. And we also supply your foreign site with a small budget to offset the cost of you using their materials and their resources while you're there. We support your vaccinations. Depending where you're going and your personal health, you will need X amount of vaccinations, so we'll pay for that up to $500. And we'll give you a stipend. This is kind of like a salary that you can just spend however you want. You don't have to show receipts at the end, but it's for your living expenses while you're away, your transport to and from work, your food every day, and things like that. And there's no stipend in the spring semester. You can stop me anytime to ask questions if you have any. So the application, this is the website. We changed our website, so maybe if you Google Berkeley MERT, you're gonna go to our old website, everything's outdated. I apologize for that. We're trying to transfer things and it's not working. working quite well. But this website is the send/UCD at the end. The application documents will be a statement of purpose, your transcript to show your GPA, your resume to show your qualifications and what skills you bring to the project, your financial aid if you are coming in as a socioeconomic disadvantaged person, and your medically disadvantaged background if you're coming in as coming from that kind of environment, but you have to put a report from the MI Rural website. So this rural designation is about all the medically underserved areas in our country. So if you put your zip code or your home address in that MI Rural website, it will generate a report to show if you are or not medically disadvantaged. And also you need at least one letter of recommendation. 2 is good, but if you just have 1, that's fine. Your statement of purpose, you want to articulate why you want to participate in this program, why you're a good fit for the particular project you're applying for. How does it fit into your future career plans and career goals? We encourage you to apply to 2 projects so that if you don't get into your top choice, there's always the second choice. So it's nice to talk about both projects in your statement. You should demonstrate that you have the ability to work independently, that you can manage complex logistics, and that you can manage your time effectively. Because if you do get in, you have your classes here at your school, you have to come to Berkeley, and then you have to deal with your mentor, and the politics. Some of these research projects have politics, you have to deal with that, and then you have to, it's a lot of work, it's very rigorous, it's very time consuming, it's hard, kids don't manage this sometimes, so we need to see that you can manage that. And then you have to show kind of like how is your research internship going to impact your academic life here when you come back. And also, why are you particularly suited for that particular project, for that particular field. Your letter of recommendation should be from professional sources. This can be a professor that you work for in the lab or on your research project. It can be, this is specific to Berkeley. Do you do undergraduate instruction? Can you teach fellow undergraduates in a class? To do that? Okay, so that's specific to Berkeley. So if you were like an undergraduate instructor in a particular class, that could be something you would add. You can ask for a professor whose class you did very well in, and a former employer or a current employer. You have to ask as soon as you can. If you plan to apply to this program, you should ask at least 4 weeks before due date, so that you give your recommender enough time to write you a nice letter. And you need to ask your recommender to write you a nice letter. If they say that they can't write you a nice letter, then don't use it. Because a lot of the time we've not taken students whose letters were bad. And people do write bad letters. You might want to also give, you can leave.
Sorry,
Don't worry.
Another class.
Oh, no problem. And you can, you should give your recommender if that person doesn't know you too well, then like your resume and your transcript, the description of the project you're applying for, so they can kind of like know what the picture looks like that you're wishing to do. You're welcome. Thank you. Your transcript is self-explanatory, and official transcripts are fine. They don't have to be official. And so is the resume and financial aid. Sorry, this is Berkeley centric. I said they are facts. Financial aid statement that your school provides, and the rural designation report if you're claiming being rural. And before you apply, check the projects. So the projects are like, it's like a job description. It's like, we're looking for this person, and this is the skills they need to have, and yada yada. This is what it looks like. So check it out and see how where you fit within the projects that we have so far with the website. And pick your projects that you're interested in too, at least for your application, and ask for your letters in advance. I already said that. And you have questions, you can email mer@berkeley.edu or email me, I'll give you my card. And you can reach out to merit investigators if you want, but if you're asking to ask about the project, but if you're asking about the program, you should email us because we run the program. They just are a mentor. The review selection goes like this. Once the applications are in this deadline, they are gathered up and sent to reviewers. There's like 4 reviewers. So your application is read by 2 people and scored. And then of the scoring, we'll take the top students and we'll invite them for group interviews. And after you do group interviews, we will take top 3 students of each project and take those names and forward them to the faculty mentor. The faculty mentor will do interviews and make the final selection. Some faculty mentors don't do interviews, they just look at your application and say, oh, I really like this person. I would like to offer them the position. So if they tell us that, then we'll let you know. And then we announce the awards via email, and then you have to reply back, say, okay, I accept or don't accept, because sometimes plans change. I had a lot of fun out there. Yeah, do you have any questions?
So how many students total are you accepting?
I think this year our funds will, for next year, will allow for 12 students maximum. Yeah. So far we get like 30 applications, so far. We're doing better publicity. I'm here today. So maybe we'll get more, but the chances of getting in are pretty high. If there's only 30 applications for 12 spots, I think that's a good percentage, like 30%.
How many applications do you get usually?
I'm sorry?
How many applications do you usually get?
About 30, 25 to 30. Yeah. So it's not a lot. It's not like 100 applications for 10 spots. No, it's not. Because I think we're trying to focus in the biology, the biology students, because it's supposed to, diversify that community. So many students who are minority or from socioeconomically disadvantaged backgrounds, they don't do biology. They don't take biology classes. It's too, I don't know, like, it's just like that's why they're underrepresented, because they didn't take them when they were undergrad. They didn't get exposed to that. So they can't be PhDs in those fields that they take them early on. They didn't get exposed early on. We also like to encourage first generation students to do this program. It's really geared towards people like that, but it's really hard for those students to be in the biological sciences than social sciences. Not that the social sciences are any easier, but yeah.
Any other questions? Great, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for listening.